Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Bendian's Best Moves is a local moving company in Panama City, providing reliable services to the families and businesses in our community. Coveted for the long list of services they provide, experts at what they do, and they do it all from start to finish. The pros at Bendian's Best Moves have moved doctors, attorneys, pastors, schools, small businesses, the federal government, and they can move you too. For the best moving experience, it's Bendian's Best Moves. Call now, 850-583-0814.
At Babbel, we know that language is more. It's more than hello and goodbye, and good evening and good night. It's more than mastering talking about the weather or directions to the closest cafe. At Babbel, our mission is to help you learn language for the long run. Babbel gives you the skills to learn a language for life. Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you text RADIO to 64,000. That's RADIO to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/DNC.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Introducing Water Clear Pools, the home of the 10-week pool guarantee. We guarantee custom pool completion from permit to your first swim in 10 weeks or less. Water Clear Pools is the premier pool builder for the Margaritaville development on Highway 79. Free quotes and custom pools anywhere in Northwest Florida. Call now, 850-835-4177, or see our website, waterclearpool.com. Licensed and insured. License number CPC 1459723.
A message from the National Police Association. It used to be that any able-bodied person would offer to assist a police officer in danger. Now, passers-by are more likely to take a video. There's a better use for your phone when an officer's in trouble. Call 911. Tell the operator where you are and what you see. Then, start your video to provide evidence later. To learn more about how you can assist law enforcement, visit nationalpolice.org. That's nationalpolice.org.
Powered by Panama City Toyota. Your home for Auburn Tiger basketball. WGSX Lynn Haven. WVLQ Port St. Joe. ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the next evolution of Sports Talk Radio. The biggest stories, reactions.
Now.
And now, we're taking...
First pick.
That's the last ball you got in the bag.
The Inside Drive. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Friday morning. You're listening to Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We appreciate you tuning in on 104.3 here in Panama City or Panama City Beach, or if you're listening over there on 101.9 in Port St. Joe, we appreciate it very, very much. And as always, you can watch, like, listen, comment, subscribe, share, and follow. That is Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. All you got to do is search up ESPN Northwest Florida. Do us a favor if you tune in on one of our social channels, specifically Facebook. Click that share button. All it takes is 2 quick pushes on your screen, and you've got that live stream shared out to all your friends for us. We would appreciate that very, very much. And, of course, you can download our free mobile app to take us anywhere you go. That is in the Google Play or Apple Store, and all you got to do is search up 104.3. And, of course, head over to ESPNPC.com. Lots going on that website right now. Not only Lucid Streams TV, you just scroll down till you see that TV channel icon. Click it, follow the prompts, get signed up using code ESPN-NW for $41 $199 a month. Over 2,000 channels on demand. You want to watch those UFCs this weekend and you don't want to pay for the pay-per-view? Lucid Streams TV will save you money. Your first month of Lucid Streams TV, you'll already be in the black because the pay-per-view price for that is way more than the monthly fee of Lucid Streams TV. So you'll be able to check that out as well. And, of course, all the regional, all the local, all the different sports and news, all professional events that you could want to watch and, listen to and all that good stuff. And, of course, over 10,000 movies on demand. Again, that's Lucid Streams TV at our website, espnpc.com. And right now, you can get signed up. I did so myself yesterday. I'm officially in the Bracket Challenge. That is the ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge. We appreciate Pepsi, Panama City, Toyota, and PCB Hobby for sponsoring this particular contest, which will lead to some cash and prizes for first, second, and third. Again, all you got to do is go to our website, espnpc.com, look for ESPN Northwest Florida's Big Bracket Challenge. If you click on that, it'll take you, to your app if you have it downloaded on your phone, and boom, you are good to go. And
Are you positive you got in there?
I thought I did.
I'm seeing 2 people in right now, and that's me and Bone Crusher.
Ooh, I thought I did. Maybe I didn't click Maybe I'm not so good at following directions here. Let me look. Fantasy.
Because we're trying to get to 100, and it doesn't normally, heighten up until we get the actual bracket.
Yeah, which is not too far away, a week from this Sunday, coming up on March 16th. You know what, David, I'm going to do? I'm going to head back to espnpc.com, and I'm going to...
Sounds like a good place to just live.
Look for that Big Bracket Challenge, which there it is right there. All I got to do, and if you go to the website right now, it also shows that we are, in fact, on air right now, the Inside Drive. All right, Big Bracket.
Shout out Golf Plus while we're at it.
There you go, inside the Golf Plus studios. I got a Golf Plus t-shirt on right now. I'm also planning, starting next week, I think we're going to do some giveaways, as Alan dropped off a lot of really cool Golf Plus swag, not only stuff just for golfers, but for anybody as well. And we're going to pick some winners for some tournaments, and whoever finishes the highest will win that prize package for that week. There's the, you just click the little red thing in the upper right corner, takes you to the Big Bracket Challenge. There it is. Click in there, see if it takes me over the map. I must have missed one step.
Well, we're debugging live on the air.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, okay, so it shows me how poorly I did in last year's group. So let's see.
That's what's so wild is I don't really remember making 2025's group, and I typed in a new group name, ESPN Northwest Florida, and it said this group name has already been taken. I'm like,
do you have to renew the league? But you and Bone Crusher are in, right?
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. And when I tried to renew the league, it said ESPN Northwest Florida has already been taken. And so then I go to my personal page, and it's like, I can edit the details of the ESPN Northwest Florida League. So, well, obviously I had something to do with this, but it's not, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm not in yet because it says there's 103 people, but that's last year's group.
That's last year's group, right.
So maybe maybe you can't get in quite yet until the bracket is?
No, because Bone Crusher...
Yeah, you and Bone Crusher.
Bone Crusher's in, so yeah.
All right, I may need to consult him towards the
maybe he put last year's...
link? Yeah?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I sent him the fresh link, though, so, and Bone Crusher's always on top of things, so...
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm struggling here. And if I'm struggling, that's not good.
Well, let's just, move on. And
oh, wait, here we go. Here we go. Just learned something that's very important. So when you go to espnpc.com and you go to the upper right corner and click that little red square with the 3 white lines, you click on the first thing that's on that little drop down. It's ESPN Northwest Florida's Big Bracket Challenge. Don't click on the banner ad. You have to click where it says click here to enter, not or below, because the below is what takes me to last year's. The click here brought me to where I see Bone Crusher and you, and then there's a specific thing that says join group. All right, so now I am officially in the group, and the group size is now 3. So a little, like you said, little live debugging there on the air, and I'm officially in. I'm officially into the ESPN Northwest Florida's Big Bracket Challenge. Make sure
I see it over here on this side.
Yeah,
well,
so it worked. It worked. The key there is to click here where it says click here, because if you click the banner ad, it seems to go to last year's. So maybe I'll just let Bone Crusher know that the hyperlink for the banner ad may still be tied to last year's crew.
Which is wild, because I can't even see last year's.
Yeah.
Over on mine.
Which you would think, because I'm sure you're the one that's...
Right, but I would like to see those.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as we've been doing this, I would like to go back and see who are the winners each and every year, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Kind of keep a little running total there, that's for sure. All right, now that we got that figured out, we're going to talk about some of the middle school playoff action from last night. As we mentioned yesterday, Jinx Middle School was going for the three-peat in boys county basketball. And I was talking to Josh Latch earlier and talking to Coach Roderick Olds, and Josh Latch, I quote, says that was the best atmosphere in Bay County this year at any level.
Oh, can't. Brother, you were at Mosley and Niceville.
Yeah,
like
I was at that
were
one
at
too.
Mosley and Niceville too. Like, oh, were you at? We're talking about Jinx and
Jinx and North Bay Haven last night yesterday afternoon in basketball.
Recency bias, I'll claim that.
Yeah, and it's because if it's a gym.
I wasn't there.
I know their gym gets real loud. I've been in there for a few games that it was really loud and intense. And he also said they had 115 people watching on the live stream. So kudos to getting the live stream going there for the county championship. And then kudos to Jinx as well. They ended up winning that game in overtime against North Bay Haven. And pretty intense stuff there. 54-49 was the final score there in overtime. So kudos to North Bay Haven on a great season and a great game against the two-time defending county champion, now the three-time back-to-back county champion. A couple notes from Coach Olds. Jalen Thomas was one of our co-MVPs this season. He averaged a double-double on the season.
Wow.
11 points and 12 rebounds per game is what he was averaging. Dimitri Felton was another co-MVP, averaged 10 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 5 steals per game. Marvin Jones was the championship game MVP. He had 18 points and 3 assists. So again, congratulations to Jinx Middle School on their back-to-back county championship, something that the Kansas City Chiefs couldn't make happen, but the Jinx Hornets certainly could.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, that's absolutely, great, obviously, for the Jinx Hornets, but Coach Latch, AD Latch had such an out to say that was the best middle school environment that we had. You know what I mean?
No, he took it up a notch. Yeah,
then he went that way. It's like anyone who was there at Niceville and Mosley, that was a hard one to beat 2 years in a row, I would say.
Absolutely.
But, we'll see what the future holds as now Coach Grant Thompson is not with Niceville. And who's going to take that job and how all of these things parlay moving forward.
Absolutely. All right, some of the other games that weren't the championship game, you had the third place game between Bay Haven and Rutherford. I don't know the score, but Bay Haven did win that one. You had the fifth place game between Surfside and Mowat. Mowat won that one. And then you had the seventh place game between Breakfast Point and University Academy. University Academy got their 4th win of the season in that game last night. So some good stuff there from all the county teams. And I still I'm going to give more kudos on the fact that they continue the brackets all the way through to get these kids more games, more reps. And, as we know, the more you can be out there playing whatever sport it is, the better you're certainly going to get. All right, now I'm going to move to the girls soccer county championship bracket. We have now the semifinals are both set as University Academy beat Palm Bay at home yesterday afternoon, 7-0. Solid performance by the Eagles on their home turf, literally their home turf. And big shout out real quick. Let me get my stat sheet up. We had, Cheney Humphreys had 2 goals and 3 assists. Ella Granger had 2 goals and 1 assist. Ziona Bell had 1 goal. Aubrey Davis had 1 goal. Mara Trupo had 1 goal. Lucy had an assist. Ryan had an assist. And just an overall great game, and another great game by our goalkeeper, Lauren Canute. And we get ready to play in the semifinals coming up next Tuesday. That'll be against the North Bay Haven Buccaneers as they beat the 4-seed Mowat yesterday, 5-0. And then on the bottom side of the bracket, you had Bayhaven and Jenks. Bayhaven came out victorious in that one, and Surfside and Breakfast Point Academy. Surfside came out victorious in that one. So, not the top 4 seeds, but pretty close. And so you'll have University Academy hosting North Bayhaven for one semifinal, and Bayhaven Charter Academy hosting Surfside for the other semifinal, with the winner of those 2 games heading to the county championship on March 13th. So on the other side of it, you'll have Palm Bay playing Mowat on Tuesday, Jenks playing BPA on Tuesday, and then it'll continue all the way through just like the basketball bracket did, where we'll have a winner for each place, 1st through 7th, which again I think is pretty darn cool. I do want to give a shout out. We've had Josh Woodham. He's a QB Vision coach here for QB Vision Gulf Coast, but he's also the head football coach for the Destin Sharks girls varsity flag football team. And I've been talking to him about that. He's just having a blast coaching those girls who are some serious athletes, and fun seeing some of the highlights and the plays that they're making. But they're off to a great start. They're currently 3-1. They beat Pensacola their first game of the season, 47-0. They did lose to Pace, who he said was one of the better flag football girl varsity teams in the area, in addition to Milton, I believe is the other one he said. They lost that one 38-6. They did beat Niceville 7-0 at home. And then last night, they had a very convincing victory over Pensacola, 27-0. They head over to Tallahassee for the Capital City Classic this weekend. Starts tonight with a game against Leto, who's from Tampa. That'll be at 8 p.m. in the Eastern time zone. And again, I hope sometime soon we'll have some of that girls varsity flag football over here in Bay County. I know it's on the cusp, and we just added the beach volleyball, but since it's been approved to be in the state as a varsity sport, hopefully that'll come to fruition at some point. And I'd love to potentially have an opportunity to coach some of that in the future, but we'll see what happens.
Hey, there you go, man. And they're getting scholarships.
Absolutely.
In college for that. So great sport to bring up. I would say, honestly, well, do they even have beach volleyball at the collegiate level?
Oh, yeah.
How's that intramural?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the national championships down there in Gulf Shores.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It's not too far away. And we had.
What do you think you're more apt to get a scholarship in? Beach volleyball or flag football?
I'm going to guess flag football, but I could be wrong. Beach volleyball, they play 5 matches, so there's 10 players that are quote-unquote starters every match, and then of course you're going to have subs and bench players as well, so there may be a little more of an opportunity in roster space with beach volleyball. But we even had Olivia Bacos from USC on the show that one time. She's a USC Southern Cal beach volleyball player. But yeah, I mean, it opens up a whole nother world.
Who do they play against, being that they're now in the Big Ten?
Ooh, that's a good question. They're getting underway right now, so I'll have to pay attention to that and see.
Iowa coming down with the best beach volleyball.
See, I don't know how their
team of all
conference
time.
stuff works, because I know they do play like Florida State, UCLA, all those teams.
It might be like wrestling, where it's just kind of its own sport, and you just
you kind of play outside your conference. Yeah. I think that's the case. I mean, because I remember some of these matchups, some of the teams that make the national championship year in and year out. But certainly a fun sport to watch, and an opportunity if you want to make the trip down to Gulf Shores. It's usually in early May, I believe, is the national championship for women's beach volleyball. All right, some other local scores on the high school level last night. Bay traveled to Walton and got their victory, 18-11. Not very much of a pitcher's duel in that one. Bay now 7-3 on the season. Walton drops to 2-7. South Walton took it to the Arnold Marlins last night, 11-1 over there at Arnold. South Walton now improves to 8-1 on the season. Arnold 7-4. Didn't see a lot of detail from that. I just know that Arnold kind of struggled a little bit with some fielding errors and stuff like that. And when you're playing a really good baseball team, in order to win, you just can't make a whole lot of mistakes. So hopefully Arnold can rebound and get back at it.
What was the score one more time?
11-1.
Whoa.
Yeah. Tough for sure. And I think in the 6th inning, somebody was telling me both teams had 5 hits, but it was 6-0 South Walton.
Yeah, I mean, walks will kill you.
Yep. Yep.
Who was on? Do we know who was on the mound for the Marlins?
Cooper Moss was on the mound for. I don't know who was on the mound for South Walton, but as we talked about yesterday, they've got a starting rotation of 5 Division I signees, and not just your low-level Division I top programs in the country. So definitely challenging there. I wonder who South Walton lost to. Let me see if I can figure that out real quick. I'm just curious on that now that we're talking about it. Following South Walton.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they did lose to someone from Bay County, but I'm not sure. I know that they beat Bozeman.
Okay, that was going to be my guess.
They beat Bozeman. I believe it was 7-2, the Bozeman score.
Okay, I got it. I finally got to it. It just took me a second. They lost to Gulf Breeze 4-3. 4-3 back on Thursday, February 27th.
That's their only loss?
That's their only loss so far, yes. They've pretty much cruised, beat Northview 17-0, Cottondale 11-0, Bozeman 7-2, Crestview 14-0, Pensacola Catholic 13-1, Mosley 7-3, Jay 18-3, and then Arnold yesterday 11-1. And like I said, that only lost Gulf Breeze 4-3 in that one. So South Walton obviously is looking pretty good, and maybe we'll make a deep run for one of our neighbors to the west. All right, talking about some of the other scores from yesterday, as those Tuesday, Thursdays are our big days here for all of our local teams. We also had Bozeman, who's now 9-1 as well. They went up to Bluntstown and got the 10-2 victory. So looking pretty good there for the Bozeman Bucks, off to another great start. They just continue to be what seems like a perennial powerhouse in varsity baseball. And then I already mentioned this score as well. The girls varsity flag football, Destin Sharks beat Pensacola 27-0. Got a few games coming up tonight. I'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Real quick, before we got to take a break, we got Joe Bond coming up at 11:20. Haven't had him on in a little while. We're going to dive into some fantasy baseball rankings and kind of get his thoughts on, what some of the players you should be targeting early on in your drafts. Quick update on the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Tough day yesterday, but round 2's been underway for a little while, and Shane Lowry, who shot 4 under in his opening round, 3 under in his opening round, is now 4 under on his round through 11 holes today, and he's tied for the lead with Wyndham Clark at 7 under par, followed by Corey Connors. Justin Thomas, despite getting to about 3 or 4 over par yesterday, salvaged a 1 under par round yesterday with a strong finish, and he's off to a fantastic start today. He's 3 under par in his round today, and he's currently tied for 4th. Where is Jackson? Jackson Koivu shot even par yesterday. That's the Auburn All-American. He got a sponsor's exemption into this event. He shot another 72 today. So as of right now, it looks like Jackson Koivu will likely make the cut. My sleeper pick, Max Gracerman, who I did on the Fantasy 6-Pack 2 Off the Tee golf show, my long shot, ended up having a good round yesterday. He shot 70. He's having a decent round today as well. I mean, he's still inside the top 15. He's 1 over par in his round through 15 holes today. So a lot of good golf still to be played, but conditions certainly challenging out there in Orlando at Bay Hill in the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Tomorrow is where it's going to get really interesting, as that wind's supposed to get up to 25 to 30 miles an hour. And if that's the case out there on that golf course, one, it's going to make it really difficult the round you're playing, but it's also going to dry out the golf course and make it extremely firm and fast. We got to go ahead and take a quick break. Like I said, we've got Joe Bond. He is the founder of Fantasy 6-Pack. He's going to be joining us next to talk some fantasy baseball, as that season is right around the corner. You guys listen to the Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd.
The Lakers have lovable Luka, and the Lakers have always understood this, and the Clippers in their growth and their ascension don't understand this. It's not just about having a star. It's about, in Los Angeles, having the right star. This is not Indianapolis. This is not Orlando. The right star.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Friday. Mostly sunny this afternoon and evening with a gentle breeze at 10 miles per hour out of the south and temps near 67. Tonight we will have mostly clouds and be quite warm at 63. A likelihood of thunderstorms tomorrow and a high 70. A likelihood of thunderstorms and moderate rain Sunday with a temp of 69. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards in Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Mid-South Lumber, where they treat you like family. Locally owned and serving the residents of Bay County for over 45 years. See Mid-South Lumber for all of your DIY projects, including windows, doors, siding, lumber, and millwork. Are you building a new home? Bring your contractor in to Mid-South Lumber and meet with a member of their sales team to discuss your framing, siding, windows, and doors. Mid-South Lumber, the biggest little lumber yard in Panama City. 717 West 11th Street.
4. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey and Jay Henley.
This man is destroying golf.
You may be right, but our ratings are up and we're attracting new youthful sponsors.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive on this Friday morning. 104.3 in Panama City and Panama City Beach. 101.9 down there in the beautiful Port St. Joe. It's been a few weeks, but we've got him back on. Just had to kind of pivot from football. We're sliding a little bit into baseball season now, but wanted to start off and thank you, Joe, for the opportunity to talk more with Keith Fleming every week. Now hanging out with him on the Two Off the Tee golf podcast. Had a lot of fun on Tuesday and really looking forward to being part of the Fantasy Six-Pack family for the rest of the golf season. So appreciate you, one, coming back on, and appreciate the opportunity to join Fantasy Six-Pack as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thanks for having me back. Enjoyed the football season talking with you and everybody there. And yeah, absolutely, man. I'm super excited with the show this season with you and Keith. When he mentioned you coming on, I was like, oh my gosh, absolutely. There's a no-brainer.
It's been a lot of fun already, that's for sure. That's for sure. And certainly looking forward to it. And, the next month or so, we got a lot of big-time tournaments coming up.
Yes, we
obviously, including the one that's going on right now. But next week, we get to pivot right into the Players' Championship, as everybody dubs that the fifth major. All right, Joe, let's talk a little fantasy baseball. I'm fairly new to fantasy baseball. My first ever time playing in it was last year. We did a group here of some ESPN Northwest Florida staff and listeners. But for those who don't know, and including myself, what are the different types of fantasy baseball leagues that are available out there?
Yeah, I'll stick. There's a lot of different formats. Football's pretty much kind of one thing. You can get different scoring type of deals, different roster constructions. But baseball is all over the place. So I'll stick with the basics, head-to-head. But there's two different formats, right? So there's head-to-head categories, which is your standard. So there's usually 5 hitting categories and 5 pitching categories. And so when you play somebody head-to-head each week, it is you have to win more categories than the other player that week. And so the hitting categories, the typical ones are runs, RBI, home runs, stolen bases, and batting average. Pitchers, you typically get wins, strikeouts, ERA, whip, and saves. There's some variances on that. I like saves plus holds. There's quality starts instead of wins. There's on-base percentage instead of batting average. There's all sorts of crazy stuff. I've seen leagues where it's 8x8 because they just do a whole lot of other ones. Like they just mix everything together. It can get wild. Yeah. Then there's head-to-head points, which every category, a hit is like 1 point. A home run is 4. A strikeout is worth 1. It can get crazy with that too. And then there's it's called rotisserie. Rotisserie is you play all season long. There is no head-to-head. It's just every day you're accumulating stats. And at the end of the season, whoever has the best overall team all season long wins. And how you get it is, so if there's 12 teams in the league, whoever is first place in home runs overall the entire season will get 12 points for that category. Whoever is in last place gets 1 point. And so if you go across all 10 categories, say it's a 5x5, whoever has the most points at the end of the year will win the league.
Huh, that's an interesting one too. That's kind of what I like about baseball. Is it's certainly a lot different than football. And the one we did last year was not the categories, but the head-to-head with just your, I'll for lack of a better term, call it standard scoring, I guess, where you get points for each particular category for each particular player. Joe, what's your favorite type of fantasy baseball league to play in?
I am a big fan of head-to-head anything, honestly. I just like it sort of brings a little rivalry into it. Every week is like a new thing. You'd be like, you can talk trash to your friends every single week. Like it's a new person every week. Rotos and me, I get it. I totally understand the logic and the reasoning why is like the thing to do for baseball. It's a long season. There's a lot of ups and downs during the year. But for me, rotisserie does get a little mundane, a little boring at times.
Yeah, if you're more of that instant gratification, week by week, exciting person, the rotisserie seems like you got to kind of wait till, everything culminates and completes before you can really celebrate.
I'll say the big negative with head-to-head versus rotisserie is head-to-head you have to have a playoff. And we know, especially in football, how random every week can be, right? So you can get to the playoffs and be the absolute best team by a mile, and you can lose because your pitcher blows up that week or your best player gets hurt, and then you're done. Yeah. And, I mean, so I get it. It's a 6-month season, and they play every single day. So it's kind of like, man, I went through all this attrition, and I'm going to get here, and Aaron Judge just went on a home run slump, and there was nothing I could do. And so I get the argument with it, but I still love the every week is a new thing, and just being able to like have those rivalries and things like that. So that's my favorite.
Absolutely. Makes sense. David, do you have a favorite when it comes to fantasy baseball? I know you've been playing.
I personally prefer head-to-head categories.
Gotcha.
I like the categories more than the scoring by positional player or individual player, rather. But I like the categories because it makes you think. I mean, all of it makes you think, regardless. It's I would say that when it comes to fantasy baseball compared to fantasy football, it's so much harder because there's so many more names that you're like, wait, what's going on? And then so many injuries, you really have to be paying attention, or at least paying attention to your fantasy baseball team. So I would absolutely say categories, just because I've also been playing it longer. It was the first thing I played, so I'm more used to that than I am with the individual player statistics.
Makes sense. All right, Joe, let's dive into what you are so famous for, and that is ranking players. We won't go too deep, maybe just 5-ish positions for those who are getting ready. Obviously, the Major League Baseball season's 2-ish weeks away, so a lot of people are getting ready to do their drafts and get their leagues started. So I know they're itching for some information on maybe some guidance on what to do. Let's start with the pitcher position, which I learned last year how important that was week in or day in and day out on whether you win or lose that particular week. Learned that very, very quickly.
Yeah, so with pitchers, if you're just talking like a standard top 5 for all pitchers, it's good for all. The relievers will be in there, but I probably wouldn't slot any of the relievers in there until like even the best ones, probably like 10, 11, 12, 13 range.
Gotcha.
They are very good, but when you're talking overall value, they only, they're not going to get you the elite strikeout numbers and things like that. So you lose that. But they are super valuable, so do not forget about them, especially in saves-only leagues. But my top 5 starting pitchers right now, I will be doing an update later today on this, so it might change, but probably not a whole lot. But Paul Skeens, Tariq Skubal, Zach Wheeler, Logan Gilbert, and I'm going to give you 3 because they're really close, and my rankings right now with everything that crunches up says Garrett Crochet from Boston, Chris Sale, Atlanta, and Cole Reagans, Kansas City. I'm going to be honest with you. In drafts, I have faded Crochet and Sale, and I've been picking up a lot of Reagans. So my gut tells me to put Reagans over top of them, but all the numbers crunch out, and it always puts Crochet and Sale ahead of him. So I got to figure out what I need to do to get Reagans ahead of them, because that's just the way my heart goes, is Reagans over those two.
Gotcha. And obviously, if you have one of the top few picks, you want to use that on a pitcher, I'm assuming, just because of the amount of points they get you throughout a whole season. No, actually, I mean, typically your hitters go first. I fade pitching. In fact, you will probably not see me with a Skeens or a Skubal or a Wheeler. They go at the end of the first round, early second round. I load up on hitters. I feel like I can always find a lot of really good pitchers later. That's a good point. There's always a lot available.
Stats. You want those 5 category hitters early on. All those guys that can get you across the board, especially in categories leagues. So points leagues can be a little bit different. I get it. In a week to week points league, pitchers are very valuable because they can really carry your weekly total. But in an overall season, your hitters, your Bobby Witts, your Shohei Ohtani that can go, 30 home runs, 30 steals, 40 home runs, 40 steals with like a near 300 batting average, if not better. Those guys are tremendously valuable and will carry your entire offense some weeks. So you want those guys over your top pitchers.
Awesome. Appreciate it. See, I'm already learning stuff already. All right, let's dive into those hitters. We'll start with first base and see what your top 5 here in your rankings are.
Yeah, number 1, no surprise, Vlad Guerrero. Number 2, I'm going Bryce Harper over Freddie Freeman at number 3. Freddie Freeman, getting a little older. I do think he takes a slight step back. We saw it a little bit last year, but he's still going to be very good. Matt Olson and Pete Alonso are my 4 and 5. First base is tough. It's very, very top heavy. And then after that, like if you miss on those top 5, I just sort of wait and just take whatever is available when I really need it. They're all sort of the same after a while. Gotcha. But those top guys sort of separate themselves.
Excellent. Top heavy there in the first baseman category. I know I didn't ask you, but maybe you have it off the top of your head. What about DH?
The DH is weird because almost every hitter is DH utility eligible.
Yeah.
There's only a few players. There's only a few players who are only utility eligible, and it's Shohei Ohtani, and then everybody else. It doesn't even matter.
Yep.
That's all there is. So you go with that. I guess there might be some leagues where Yordan Alvarez is utility only, but I'm pretty sure he has outfield in every single format, every single site that I've seen so far this year. But Shohei Ohtani is far and away the top of that list.
No doubt. All right, let's switch over to those middle infielders and go at second base.
Yeah, so I'm going Mookie Betts, number 1, if he has second base eligibility. There are some sites he does not. So if we remove him, I'll give you 6 names just to make up for it.
Okay.
Ketel Marte, Jose Altuve, Ozzie Albies, Marcus Semien, and I like Matt McLain. If the dude can stay healthy, I really think he has a legit superstar type season in him.
Very cool. All right, run through that one more time for me besides Mookie Betts. I'm writing these down too.
Ketel Marte, Jose Altuve, Ozzie Albies, Marcus Semien, and Matt McLain.
Awesome. Got it. All right, right there next to him in the diamond, the shortstop position.
Yeah, so shortstop is where you're going to get, there is a ton of talent at shortstop. Now, the guys at the top are the elite of the elite in the game right now. But shortstop, you can find so much production later on. Like, just for instance, Matt McLain was my number 6 second baseman. He is my number 11 shortstop if he has eligibility at that in your whatever site you're playing on. So just know that that's how loaded the shortstop position is right now. But leading the way, Bobby Witt Jr. Does it all. Ellie De La Cruz can do it all, kind of has some ups and downs in his game, but, 73 steals last season. Just unbelievable. Gunnar Henderson at number 3. Mookie Betts, who was top at second base, would be number 4 at shortstop. And then Francisco Lindor rounds out my top 5.
Very, very cool. All right, question for you that kind of came up in my mind while you've been talking. How important is it when you're drafting your lineup, your roster here, to have guys that have multiple position eligibility? Would you pick a guy over another guy because of that? Or, again, I'm a little ignorant when it comes to all this fantasy baseball stuff, so just a question that kind of popped up in my mind.
So, 2 answers here. So the real answer is no, I do not. Typically, that would not be like a difference maker. Now, if it is like a true tiebreaker, like I really have these guys totally even, like they're basically the same type of player. They're going to help my team in the same way. If one guy has second and third and the other guy only has third base, yeah, I'll probably take the guy who has second and third, because that does give you some. There's going to be injuries all year long. There's going to be guys that bust all the time. So having that roster flexibility is crucial. Now, especially in best ball leagues, I would say yes. Guys who have multiple position eligibility get a massive boost in best ball leagues, because if you get injuries on a best ball league, you cannot pick up anybody.
Yeah.
So having guys that can just play anywhere really helps you have full point potential all season long, and that will make a difference. It's a reason why, so over at Razzball, they run a best ball league every year called Razz Slam. I have finished in the top 5 twice, top 10 another time. So like knowing that your players have all this eligibility really can make a big difference.
Gotcha. Makes sense. So in best ball leagues, it can make a huge difference. In regular, not so much. Got it. Appreciate you answering that question. All right, 3 more quick position categories here. I know we're running short on time, so if you can fly through them pretty quick if you'd like. Let's go third base first.
Yeah, third base, Jose Ramirez. I have Vlad Guerrero. He is eligible somewhere. I'm not really sure where. He still keeps popping up as third base eligible, but take him off the list because he typically doesn't. So then it's Jose Ramirez, Austin Riley, Jazz Chisholm, Rafael Devers, and Manny Machado.
All right.
And to me, there's a huge cliff after those top 5, top 6, I guess, if you add Vlad, between him and the next grouping of players.
Gotcha. So then kind of a little bit like first base, a little bit very top heavy, and then after that it kind of drops off significantly. But there's a lot of players obviously available, but more interchangeable most likely than those top 5. All right, let's go over to the catcher position.
Yeah, catcher's interesting, kind of one that I usually wait on. I don't pay for the upper echelon guys, but William Contreras has separated himself the last couple of seasons. I've still got Adley Rutschman as number 2. I know people are afraid with the second half slump he had last year, but I am not. I think it was due to the hand injury. Yanier Diaz, Salvador Perez, and then William Contreras' older brother, Wilson Contreras, over there in St. Louis. He's moving out of the catcher position. He will not catch this season, and he's playing first base. So he gets a huge boost because he's going to have a boatload of at-bats compared to a lot of these catchers who sit every, twice a week.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that makes a big difference at that position.
All right, and then last but not least, obviously there's a plethora of them to choose from, the outfield position. I just lumped it all into one.
Yeah, Aaron Judge leads the way here, and then I've got Juan Soto number 2, Kyle Tucker number 3, Mookie Betts at 4, and it's a huge toss-up here. Right now I've got Tatis at 5, but Corbin Carroll, Julio Rodriguez, Jordan Alvarez, Jarren Duran, you name it, all these guys. And then, once Acuna actually comes back, you could arguably throw him in at, number 1, number 2. He's that good.
Yeah.
As long as he can he gets running on the base paths again.
Definitely, which hopefully will be sooner than later for us Braves fans down here in the Panhandle. All right, real quick, Joe, just remind everybody all this information is at their quote-unquote fingertips. Where do they got to go, and how can they subscribe and sign up for some of that exclusive content?
Yeah, fantasysixpack.net is where you're going to find all this stuff. We have our fantasy baseball draft kit. Most of the content is out by now. We got a few more things coming out. Updates to things like that. So, of course, rankings. We got cheat sheets. We've got, we're going to have during the season a bunch of DFS content as well, some betting content. So we're going to have a lot of things for you. Go over there, subscribe, fantasysixpack.net/plan. You can use promo code F6PMLB25, save 15%. And, what we got?
Very, very cool. All right, I'm going to ask you one more question before I let you go. Any players in the NFL draft, I know we'll probably talk a little bit that as it gets closer to the end of April, right now that you think could be a serious fantasy impact next season for the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, I think the obvious ones, right, are Gentry, and a lot of people are looking at McMillan. I'm going to give you one who I think is getting some buzz, but maybe not as much as he should be. But Luther Burden, I really like him. Yeah. The dude, it seems like he fits that, like, typical receiver who's coming out right now. Just, he's 6 foot. He's not like this 6'4", tall, lanky guy. Just super explosive, super powerful, can catch the ball, make plays, even if he catches like a short little screen. Those are the types of guys that just seem to be thriving, especially early on in their career in the NFL. So he's a guy that I'm going to be very interested in where he lands, and that's if he lands somewhere where he's just going to get a bunch of targets, even if the quarterback isn't very good. I learned my lesson with the Giants this year. I faded, blanking on his name right now, faded their receiver.
Malik Neighbors.
But yeah, I faded Neighbors because I was definitely afraid of Daniel Jones and whoever else was going to be passing the ball there, and learn my lesson big time. So Luther Burden will be a guy that I'm going to be keeping an eye on for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. NFL certainly not as much the deep vertical league that it used to be, and certainly learning into more moving into more scheme-driven short pass offenses. Joe, we appreciate you jumping on again with us. Look forward to continuing to talk fantasy baseball, and as we get ever so closer to the NFL draft, look forward to talking about some of that action as well.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, absolutely. That was Joe Bond. He's the founder of Fantasy Six-Pack. You can check out all Fantasy Six-Pack content at fantasysixpack.net. You all listen to the Inside Drive. When we get back, we're going to talk about some of the NFL players released thus far and dive into a little bit of the big guy, Mel Kiper's big board draft rankings. You listen to the Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Here's what's happening.
It's that time of year again. The Women's Civic Club of Panama City Beach presents the Spring Fling Juried Arts and Crafts Show, Saturday, March 8th from 9 to 3 at Frank Brown Park Recreation Center. Donation is only $1 for adults, sponsored by the Women's Civic Club of Panama City Beach, a non-profit organization supporting charitable causes in Panama City Beach and ESPN Northwest Florida.
TK Vandy Roofing and General Contracting is a fifth-generation contracting company based right here out of Bay County. TK Vandy's expertise in commercial and residential roofing, as well as a design-build general contractor, set them aside as a versatile and fresh alternative to achieve your construction needs. Contact TK Vandy Roofing, 850-866-9908, or email support@tkvandy.com. They can't wait to help you.
How would you like to receive money for your car that you don't need anymore? When you call the Sell Car US hotline right now, we'll come to your location. Within a matter of days, we'll offer you a fair price for your vehicle and we'll remove it for free. How great is that? You don't need to go anywhere. No people stopping by your house to look at your car, wasting your time on test drives. We come, we offer you a price, and pay you immediately. Call the Sell Car US hotline right now to arrange to have one of our representatives come right to your door and tell you how much your car is worth. Cars, trucks, vans, running or not, we'll make you a deal. Call this number right now.
800-609-2771. 800-609-2771. 800-609-2771. That's 800-609-2771.
Don't mind me. I'm just playing through. Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local, ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, your home for the SEC champion Auburn Tigers. Big game coming up tomorrow against the number 7th ranked Crimson Tide, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's their current AP ranking. Coverage starts at 1 p.m., tip-off at 1:30. Obviously a big game for both teams. Auburn has already locked up the regular season SEC championship, but always want to have a good showing in your last SEC game, and Alabama trying to get a little revenge against Auburn, who came into Coleman Coliseum a few weeks ago and got the victory. So should be a fun game. Hopefully both teams can stay healthy throughout the game and come out of that game, but the atmosphere should be wild, and if you listen to it on the radio right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, you'll probably be able to feel that right through your speakers in your car or wherever else you may be listening. Again, we're your home for the Auburn Tigers. We also got a lot of conference championship games coming up right here on ESPN Northwest Florida as well, so make sure you keep your dial tuned in to 104.3 or 101.9. All right, just re-updating everybody or reminding everybody, all the players that have been informed that they will be released coming up when the league starts on Monday, March 12th, which is next Monday. Some of the highlights of these names: Devontae Adams, Joey Bosa, Evan Ingram, Tyler Lockett, Darius Slay, James Bradbury, Javon Hargrave, Gardner Minshew, Jamal Williams, Devin Duvernay, Draymond Jones, Roy Robertson Harris, Rayshon Jenkins, George Fant, and Roquan Davis. So a lot of big-time names are going to be released come here Monday, March 12th. Initially, the Jags informed Christian Kirk that he was going to be released coming up this next week as well, but the Houston Texans wanted to make sure he didn't go anywhere else first as they traded for Christian Kirk. I believe they gave up a 7th-round pick and will pick up the rest of his contract as well. So Houston adding another wide receiver, as obviously depth for them was tough this past season as they lost not only Stephon Diggs, their new addition, but Nico Collins as well. So, trying to add a little more weapons there. And, Christian Kirk obviously kind of reset the wide receiver market not that long ago. And I don't know if it was unjust, but we shall see how he does for the old Houston Texans, staying in the same division, in the same conference.
Yeah, it doesn't move the needle by any stretch of the imagination, but hey, it's another guy to add to your arsenal, especially if you've got a young quarterback, third-year quarterback going into anyways, C.J. Stroud.
Yep, no doubt. And I totally agree with you. It doesn't really move the needle, but he is certainly a receiver that knows how to catch passes in the NFL. All right, we talked obviously with Alan Sandage yesterday about his rankings at the position, so now I wanted to go to the top of the quote-unquote expert list when it comes to these rankings, and that's Mel Kiper Jr., who's been an NFL analyst for a long, long time.
Always gets it wrong. Let's go.
Mel Kiper always gets it wrong. There you go. Hopefully he's not listening. If he is,
I don't care.
He already knows that.
I mean, right, and not just that, but I've never met anyone who, is spot on when it comes to their draft thoughts.
They don't have that crystal ball, that's for sure.
I'd say they get like 5 out of 32 correct, which I would say is very impressive, too. Let me not mislead you and say, oh, none of these guys. But that's the thing about sports in general. No one really knows what the heck is going on.
Otherwise, Vegas wouldn't be in business.
Facts and having their best year of all time.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. All right, starting with the quarterbacks. Again, this is right off of Mel Kiper's big board. Quarterbacks, he's got Shedeur Sanders as number 1. I don't know if I completely agree with that. Cam Ward at number 2. Jackson Dart, number 3. Kyle McCord, number 4. Tyler Shuck, as Alan taught us the correct way to pronounce that, from Louisville. Then Jalen Milroe.
I still like to call him Shug.
Shug. Like
Shug.
Jalen Milrose, 6. Dylan Gabriel, 7. Will Howard, 8. Quinn Ewers, 9. And Riley Leonard down there tied for 10th with Curtis Rourke from Indiana. I could get behind some of those, and we shall see. Again, it's not the most impressive quarterback class we've had anytime recently, but certainly some guys that could help out some teams that desperately need some quarterback action. On the running back side of things, starting with number 1, Ashton Genty from Boise State. Omarion Hampton from North Carolina, who Alan talked about a little bit in depth yesterday. Had a great season last year, just a guy being compared a little bit to LT. Caleb Johnson from Iowa. Travion Henderson from Iowa State. Quinshawn Judkins. Ohio State. What did I say?
Iowa State.
Okay. I was looking ahead to the other Ohio State running back, Quinshawn Judkins. And then Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. LaQuint Allen from Syracuse. Trevor Etienne from Georgia, Cam Scadaboo from Arizona State, and R.J. Harvey from UCF.
Can't forget about Tootin, though, from Virginia Tech.
That's
man.
right.
That's the guy to watch.
Yep, absolutely. Somebody's going to get a very, very good running back with that.
Sproles-like.
Yep. Very Darren Sproles-esque for sure. All right, wide receiver side of things, he's got Travis Hunter, number 1. We heard Alan talk about him a little bit yesterday. 6 foot, but has the wingspan of about 7 feet. So, like my dad always say about me, he's like, "Do your knuckles ever get sore from dragging on the ground with your arms?" And I was like, "No, so far so good." But very hard to find a sports coat in my size because I am not very big, but I have very long arms. So 40 longs aren't just regularly floating around at most department stores. So. Number 2 on the wide receivers, Tateria McMillan, and then Emeka T-Mac, yes, I like that. And then Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State, Matthew Golden from Texas, Luther Burden III from Missouri, Savion Williams from TCU, Jaden Higgins from Iowa State, Kyle Williams from Washington State, Jack Beck from TCU, who I think he was the MVP of the Senior Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, and then Jalen Noel from Iowa State as well. So, but the wide receiver group from this draft coming up kind of goes on and on and on and on, and you can find a lot of good players kind of mid-late round in the draft. So keep an eye on that. Tight end side of things, which we didn't talk about yesterday with Alan. You got Tyler Warren from Penn State, Colston Loveland from Michigan, Mason Taylor from LSU.
Which had a phenomenal combine, by the way, as well.
Yes, no doubt. A lot of action on social media with his combine. Elijah Arroyo from Miami, Terrence Ferguson from Oregon, Gunnar Helm from Texas, Luke Lackey from Iowa. Iowa always seems to produce great tight ends. Thomas Fedone II from Nebraska, Jackson Hawes from Georgia Tech, and last but not least, number 10, Mitchell Evans from Notre Dame. Fullbacks/halfbacks from Syracuse, Oronde Gadsden II from Bowling Green, Harold Fannin Jr., Clemson, Jake Bringingstool. That's a wild day. BRININGSTOOL.
I'm bringing stool to the game, boy. Y'all either sit down or...
Yeah, I bet he had a tough growing up, especially in middle school, I'm sure. But anyway.
I don't think the kids in middle school probably knew, like the differences in the ways that you could use the word stool.
Yeah, it's true. Although I just seem like the middle schoolers always seem to be the toughest,
the antagonist,
the biggest antagonist group of all the elementary, middle school, and high school. Texas Tech, Jalen Conyers, and then from North Carolina, Bryson Nesbitt, JJ Pegues. Pegues from Ole Miss, Brant Kuthi from Utah, Carter Runyon from Towson, that's a university up there in the great state of New Jersey, Ben Urasek from Georgia, Jermaine Terry II from Oregon State. You never know with those fullbacks and halfbacks how important they can be to your offensive scheme. Not a lot of NFL teams utilize that position, but the ones that do, it just adds an extra blocker in there and sometimes a decent pass catcher as well. All right, offensive tackles. This is a very important group, and I think a lot of the these guys are going to go in the first and second round of the draft coming up. From Missouri, you've got Armand Membu, Will Campbell from LSU, Josh Simmons from Ohio State, Kelvin Banks Jr. from Texas, Josh Connerly Jr. From Oregon, Ariante Ursary from Minnesota, Ozzy Trapilo from Boston College, Anthony Belton from NC State, Charles Grant from William & Mary, it's a tough school educational-wise, and then Cameron Williams from Texas. A lot of teams looking to bolster, which is one of my favorite words, their offensive line. On the guard side of things, number 1 from Alabama, Tyler Booker, Gray Zabel from North Dakota State, good to see a little FCS program action in there, Donovan Jackson from the Ohio State, Jonah Savanani, that's a crazy back-to-back I's, and NAEA from Arizona, Dylan Fairchild from Georgia, Wyatt Mullum from West Virginia, Tate Ratledge from Georgia, 2 Georgias in there, Emory Jones Jr. from LSU, Connor Colby from Iowa, and Marcus Mabo, or Mbo.
That's Mabo.
Mbo. There's no vowel in between the M and the B. That he is from Purdue. All right, real quick, your centers, Jared Wilson from Georgia, Jonah Monheim from USC, Drew Kendall from Boston College, Seth McLaughlin from Ohio State, who I believe was a transfer from somewhere in the SEC, Jake Majors from Texas, Joshua Gray from Oregon State, Jackson Slater, Sacramento State, Eli Cox from Kentucky, Clay Webb from Jacksonville State, and then Willie Lumpkin from North Carolina. Defensive ends, you've got Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M, as well as Nick Scorton from Texas A&M, JT Tiamalu from Ohio State, Landon Jackson from Arkansas, Ashton Gillowette from Louisville, Jack Sawyer from Ohio State, Jordan Birch from Oregon, Baron Sorrell from Texas, Savion Jones from LSU, and Jared Ivey from Ole Miss. I'll just do the real quick defensive tackles. Mason Graham, Walter Nolan, Darius Alexander, Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon, Tyleek Williams, Joshua Farmer, Alfred Collins, Yaha Black, Ty Robinson, and then some linebackers, Jalen Walker, Jahad Campbell, Georgia and Alabama, Carson Schweisinger, Demetrius Knight Jr., Danny Stutzman, Jeffrey Bass, Cody Simon, Barrett Carter, Chris Paul Jr., Jack Kaiser. Those are all.
Chris Paul Jr.
Yes.
Go. Got a point guard playing defense.
CP4, right? I guess. Well, CP3. I guess he was. He came out of retirement and now he's going back to the NFL. And then your outside linebackers, Abdul Carter, who have a lot of people have him very, very early in the draft. Mike Green, Mikael Williams, Ulawana Femi Olagio from UCLA. Donovan, I should have just stopped because these are getting crazy now.
What are you doing? Just torturing yourself?
Pretty much. That's what it feels like. I mean, I can't see very well either, so trying to focus in on these names is challenging. So I am going to just go ahead and stop. Obviously, you can check out that information on Mel Kiper's big board if you'd like to. There's still some cornerbacks as well as safeties and then punters and kickers. We got to go ahead and take a quick break. Afternoon Delight debrief coming up next. You guys are listening to ESPN Northwest Florida, the Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida presents the madness of college basketball. 68 teams, 32 conference champions, but there can only be one. ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for the NCAA College Basketball Tournament.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Friday. Mostly sunshine the remainder of the day with a gentle breeze around 10 miles per hour out of the south, and look for it to be 67. Tonight, there will be mostly clouds with the temperature reaching 62. A chance of thunderstorms tomorrow with the high of 70. This weather is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
National Cleaning Week is almost here. Join us for Spring Clean Weekend at Tommy's Express. It's been a long winter of salt, dirt, and road grime, and your car needs some love. Wash for free with us Saturday, March 22nd and Sunday, March 23rd. Use our free vacuums and floor mat washers and check out our detail kits to complete the interior clean. Spruce up your car for free this weekend at Tommy's Express. Highway 77 and 23rd Street next to Starbucks.
Powered by Panama City Toyota. Your home for Auburn Tiger basketball. WGSX Lynn Haven. WVLQ Port St. Joe. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Do you want to eat like a local? The Local 115 is now open. Local drinks, local sports, and local food. Delicious oysters, crab cakes, steamed seafood, gumbos, salads, paninis, wings, wine, and cold beer. Nothing fried. That's right. No fried foods at Local 115. Amazing local food with an exciting local sports and mural theme. Eat like a local at the Local 115. 115 Harrison Avenue, downtown Panama City.
Set your alarm clock to wake up with the Coach Hales Show on ESPN Northwest Florida. In-depth local and college sports from expert insiders and a dash of controversy.
Can be deadly.
Weekday mornings 7 to 9.
Nothing says good morning like a drunken human alarm clock.
You're live from the J. Michaels studio.
We all know he loves the Florida Gators, but that's okay.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
I can control the world.
And now, the afternoon delight debrief with the three degenerates from the Inside Drive. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios.
Afternoon delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
And welcome back to listen to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Inside the Golf Plus Studios, two great locations right here in Panama City Beach, as well as up there in Dothan off of 231. They specialize in club fitting, apparel, all sorts of cool custom stuff that they got there. It's not just a store for golfers either. Anybody can go in there. You can find yourself a Bluetooth speaker tumbler from Vibe, which is really awesome. A lot of custom sports stuff from all the different colleges, whether it's head covers, golf balls, golf shirts, apparel, whatever it may be. And then one of the most important things you can do if you want to get better at golf is get fitted for your golf clubs, especially when it comes to your driver. That shaft is the engine of the driver. The club head is just what makes contact with the ball, and Golf Plus is by far the best around, not only here in Panama City Beach, but in the Dothan area as well. So go make an appointment on their website. That is golfplusdothan.com, and you can sign up for that, get yourself club fitted, and get your golf game even better as we approach some really nice golfing weather coming up once we get this pollen to wash away, hopefully this weekend. I'm going to dive into my afternoon delight debriefs. We're going to start with, if you indeed like those flaming hot Cheetos, you want to make sure you be very careful when you're eating them, because Pokemon-shaped flaming hot Cheeto sells for $87,840. A single flaming hot Cheeto said to be shaped like a Charizard from the Pokemon anime and gaming franchise was auctioned at $87,840. The Golden Auction House said the oddly sculpted snack dubbed Cheetozard opened bidding at $250 in February and was sold to an unnamed bidder for $72,000 plus a buyer's premium, making it a total of $87,840. The 3-inch long Cheeto is affixed to a custom Cheetozard Pokemon card encased in a transparent box. Golden said the Cheeto was discovered and preserved by a sports memorabilia company, First and Goal Collectibles, sometime between 2018 and 2022. Images of the snack went viral on social media in 2024. So again, if you like those flaming hot Cheetos, if it's shaped like Charizard from Pokemon, you might be sitting on a
you have to know what
Charizard
looks like for Pokemon. I'm gonna just start making up names like Key and Peele for football players.
Yep.
I mean. Yeah,
I guess a Charizard is one of the more...
Cheetos come in all different shapes and sizes, though. So I could say, hey, look, this looks like Stickazard.
Yeah, hey.
Give me $84 and I'll let you have this one.
Right? They opened the bidding at $250, so, every time you open a bag, you may want to pour them out first and take a little gander before you start eating them. All right, switching to another interesting story. FBI adds ex-Olympic snowboarder to its 10 most wanted lists. There's a $10 million reward for information leading to the arrest of a former Olympic snowboarder from Canada who is wanted for allegedly running a multinational drug trafficking network and orchestrating multiple murders related to the drug ring. The FBI added Ryan Wedding, he's 43 years old, to its 10 most wanted list on Thursday, while also announcing to the U.S. State Department's $10 million offer. Welding went from shredding powder on the slopes at the Olympics to distributing powdered cocaine on the streets of the United States and in his native Canada, said Akil Davis, the assistant director of FBI's Los Angeles field office. The alleged murders of his competitors make Wedding a very dangerous man. Among his aliases, according to the FBI, are El Jefe, Public Enemy, and James Conrad King. Wedding was charged in June with the murder and drug crimes. Those charges were augmented in September in an indictment that alleged Wedding and others arranged the shipment of some 60 tons of cocaine a year using long-haul semi-trucks to move drugs between Colombia, Mexico, Southern California, and Canada. In announcing the indictment on October, the FBI said a dozen people had been arrested in connection with the case. U.S. authorities alleged the group killed 2 members of a family in Canada in retaliation for a stolen drug shipment, in what officials said it was a case of mistaken identity, as well as the 2 other people, according to officials in the federal court filings. Wedding finished 24th in the parallel giant slalom at the 2002 Olympics.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. He went from one white powder to another white powder. And now if somebody can find him, you can get yourself $10 million.
$10 million? You think you actually get that? Wasn't there like some whole situation with like this feller named Luigi or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. And
never looked into it, man.
Yeah.
Really anything that I see coming from what they call the mainstream media,
you just never know.
I just turn a blind eye.
Yep. What if you can see out that eye? Is that just turning a regular eye? I get the phrase.
Yeah, I can't see out of it.
Yeah.
I guess I would have to ask my dad what it's like to turn a blind eye.
Turn a blind eye, yeah. I guess.
You say, well, I guess we're just turning our heads some.
Yes, just turning our eyes inside our head. All right, some more positive news, staying with some cold stuff. Wendy's is adding 2 new Frosties to its permanent menu. Wendy's Frosty will forever remain one of the most loved items at the fast food chain. There's a reason why Dave
probably stays in business with that.
Probably. There's a reason why Dave Thomas created this treat, which is somewhere between a milkshake and soft serve ice cream. Has withstood the test of time since its induction as a core menu item at the first Wendy's restaurant. In fact, the Frosty is so loved that when Wendy's started adding seasonal flavors to the menu like strawberry, pumpkin spice, and salted caramel, fans complained that they could no longer order their favorite vanilla Frosty. It's because the biggest problem with the Frosty, there can only be 2 flavors on the menu at a time, or at least that's how it used to be. In February, Wendy's announced that a Thin Mints Frosty in collaboration with the Girl Scouts. This Frosty features a unique Thin Mints-inspired cookie butter swirl, and for the first time ever, customers can choose if they want the swirl in chocolate or vanilla Frosty. That means there are currently 4 Frosty options on the menu. After proving the classic Frosty was even more delicious with the simple swirl of Thin Mints, cookie butter, or pineapple mango puree in the SpongeBob-inspired pineapple under the sea Frosty, Wendy's has decided to add a new kind of Frosty to the menu. At Wendy's Investor Day, the chain confirmed it's introducing Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions to the menu this spring. Frosty is one of the most iconic iconic items on Wendy's menu, and we know that consumers are increasingly seeking new flavors and variety, said Lindsay Radkowski, the Wendy's company's U.S. Chief Marketing Officer. Our new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions will give our fans even more ways to enjoy this classic treat. Much like the Thin Mint Frosty, the new Frosty Swirls will allow you to sauce your chocolate or vanilla Frosty. The Frosty Fusions will feature the same sauces plus additional mix-ins for even a more delicious experience. Wendy's didn't share what the new sauces and mix-ins will be, but the photo provided by the brand shows what caramel sauce, cookie pieces, and some kind of strawberry crunchy crumbles. Social media rumors say they resemble Pop-Tart pieces. The brand also didn't clue us in on exactly when the Frosty Swirls and Fusions might hit menus, but Radkowski did share that the new add-ins aren't the only thing changing for dessert. Wendy's will now have new Frosty cups, lids, and custom blue spoons designed for the perfect eating experience.
Blue spoon.
The spoons, funny you ask, the spoons will allow customers to get every bit of Frosty goodness out of the bottom of the cup, she explained. It must have a very fine point at the end, I would guess.
Yeah, stab your dang tongue while you're doing that.
Right.
That's not optimal for ice cream.
In the addition to the new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions, Wendy's also announced that it has plans to collaborate with Takis, the spicy rolled tortilla chip, later this summer.
Are you trying to go out of business? That's all I'm hearing from this article is.
Right.
We're not letting you know what it is, but we're going to ruin Frosties by having you guys put toppings on something that's been perfectly fine the whole entire time. And you don't need straws. You need French fries. That's what you need with Frosties.
That's it. French fries and chocolate Frosties, a pair that's been around for decades. Even without official dates, we think it's safe to say that we're going to have a delicious spring and summer filled with new Wendy's menu items. And that kind of sums up what Wendy's is trying to do, trying to make something what they think is better.
Dave Thomas ought to be rolling in his grave.
Probably
right
is.
Now.
He probably is. Wendy just changed her hair color from red to brown because she's protesting.
There you go.
So.
I mean, I'm a bigger fan of brunettes than I am redheads. Overall speaking, there are some beautiful redheads out there.
I do remember,
as Jay would say, all girls are beautiful.
That's true. I hadn't heard you say that in a while, though.
False.
Did you say it recently?
I'm just saying false, regardless.
Well, I hadn't seen him in a while, so hopefully he's doing all right. It's just sad without the guitar here on Fridays. But, I can remember always when me and my dad would play golf on the weekends growing up, he was a big fan of the chocolate Wendy's. He still is, the chocolate Frosty from Wendy's, so we'd always stop on the way back from playing golf and get a Wendy's Frosty. So
I never got it, they started doing like the vanilla Frosty. I was never into that.
Yeah.
And I'm more of a vanilla fan than I am a chocolate fan.
I would say the same thing, but there's just something about that chocolate Frosty that it seems like Wendy's is trying to ruin with all these different things. It's almost like they're trying
to... Put some Takis on your Frosty, like, dude, I like sweet and spicy, but not...
Yeah.
That's just, that's just dumb.
Oh, man. Takis is probably like, hey, make us relevant. Let's...
You sit there and you scoop it up with your spoon or whatever. You don't even see one of the Takis.
You get it crushed. That would be... I'm not a big fan of Takis myself.
I pretend to like the blue ones because I like blue things.
Nah, you pretend I like that. Pretend to like them. But that's it took a turn there. I was, the other things were okay. It was okay. And then boom, took a turn. When they said they were going to be adding Takis to the Frosties. But
and guess what? We're going to have a blue spoon for you guys. Like,
I need a picture
to draw
of this
me
spoon.
in.
Yeah.
Like,
that's specific to you.
Like,
they're like, this guy loves blue things, so we're going to change the spoon.
I guess like you're going to get a taste of the blue spoon. Like, no, bro. Not even,
I can't understand though, when you get to the bottom, sometimes it's tough to get it out of the corner of the cup.
You let it melt a little bit and then you drink it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I had a Blizzard the other day and I forgot to eat it all the way. I say forget, but you get a medium-sized Blizzard. If you're eating that much ice cream on a normal basis.
Medium doesn't sound big, but when you get one of those, you're like, oh my God, I just ate half of this. I feel like I'm going to throw up.
Well, you go from mini to small to medium.
Yep.
And, you get
think
it.
The progression wouldn't be that big, but I mean, this is basically a medium
That's a
Blizzard.
large, bro. That's going to be like 32. Well, It's got to be a 32-ounce cup right there. So I would
think
say that's a large.
I would think so. Yeah, whoever's ordering large blizzards and blasts.
I got the medium, and so I put it in the fridge, which, probably not the smartest.
Yeah, because ice cream
went into
needs
the freezer, right? Well, anyways, but the next night I drank it, and I'm like, it was like not even a milkshake.
Yeah.
Like, not even
just
a
milk.
smoothie.
Just milk.
Yeah, milk.
Milk with stuff in it.
Cookie dough.
Yeah.
It worked out just fine.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. I do enjoy a blast with cookie dough in it. But yeah, I usually try to stick with the minis, or sometimes I'll splurge to get the small, but that medium has just got way too much ice cream in it. I'll hit another couple, maybe one, maybe two. We'll see. This one's if you like spicy things, this one's for you. Canadian man eats 25 Carolina Reaper peppers in under 5 minutes. An iron stomach speed eater broke a Guinness World Record by eating 25 Carolina Reaper chili peppers in 4 minutes and 36.26 seconds. Mike Jack, a Canadian YouTuber famous for his high tolerance for spicy foods, broke the Guinness World Record for fastest time to eat 25 Carolina Reaper chili peppers at Goat Fest in Kitchener, Ontario. Carolina Reapers have a Scoville heat units measurement of about 1,641,183.
I knew I was going to be a millionaire one day.
Yeah.
Even if it's only in Scoville units.
Hey, I wonder who Scoville was. Compared to about the average of 4,000 to 8,500, which is in the average jalapeno pepper. So I don't even know how many times hotter that is, but it's a lot hotter. Reapers were considered to be the hottest chili pepper in the world until the debut of Pepper X last year. It might look a little easier than it is, but I'm burning up here. I really felt it, Jack told Guinness World Records. The peppers, they really hurt a lot. Jack holds multiple Guinness World Records titles, but not all of them are spice related. He broke the record last year for drinking a Capri Sun juice pouch in 21.71 seconds using a paper straw. That doesn't seem that fast.
No, it doesn't.
20
but also,
plus
when you're
seconds.
you're eating hot stuff, that's one of those things. Especially if you don't just
Yeah, I mean,
there's the whole thing.
There's a YouTube video. It looks like he's just like bam, 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 bam. It wouldn't be that for me. It would be the
indigestion,
pain, and then obviously when those Reapers got to make their reappearance into the world.
Reapers making their reappearance.
Yeah, that would be awful. I know you're a spicy food guy.
It doesn't matter. They still have to make their reappearance.
Yeah,
so as much as someone may like spicy stuff, that doesn't mean that it doesn't bother you one way or another down the road,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's like when you're just sitting there waiting for the pain to come. But
the worst is when you're like in bed and then all of a sudden it hits you like 2 o'clock in the morning, wakes you up, and you're just like, well, I knew I was going to have to pay for this at some point in time, but I didn't know it was going to be in the middle of the night.
Yep, that's when it's always going to happen. It's like when you lay down, everything starts making its
bubbling up,
making its move. Oh goodness! I think I did talk about that one yesterday. Let's see, trying to find some other good ones here. I thought I might have had one in my. This is not. This is kind of an afternoon delight debrief, but not really. I don't know if you saw this one, David, but so far in spring practice, UNC football players don't have names or jerseys on their helmets, which I kind of think is pretty cool from Bill Belichick. He said, "Numbers and what color gloves we wear and all, that's not important. It's not as important as doing your job, being responsible and accountable to your teammates, and being a good teammate. And so our focus is on the team, and we're just all out there working practice and trying to get better. And that's coaches, players, all of us. So it's not all about individual notoriety right now. It's about trying to put together a team. Numbers and what color gloves we wear and all are just not as important as doing your job and being responsible and accountable to your teammates." So Bill Belichick already kind of bringing some of those Patriot ways down into the college level, because it's so true, because it is, and it's got to be tough in this day and age with these NFL NIL deals and stuff like that, where some kids are getting, more and all that stuff. So, kudos to see kind of Belichick, bringing some of those NFL ways already down there in North Carolina. Still bizarre to see him coaching North Carolina. That's just such a strange thing, but maybe he just wanted to be part of the Jumpman culture. I don't know. But you got
the man's joined North Carolina just to wear a little bit of Michael Jordan apparel because he felt like it would make him fit in a little bit more with his young girlfriend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about relatability. But you got your Carolina blue on today. Looking good.
Thank you. I would like to call this Houston Oiler.
Okay, that's fair.
This afternoon, but no, you're 100% right.
I think North Carolina.
No, it is. Yeah. It is. I mean, it is definitely Carolina blue. And if I were not wearing a Houston Oiler hat, it would be like 1,000%. You would never say it's like Tennessee Titan. One of the two of the tones of the blue that they utilize. No, it's. Well, it is, but it's not. Definitely Carolina blue. I think that's great stuff what Coach Belichick is doing, and we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, we'll see how it translates to actually being successful.
Right, because if this does end up being a successful blueprint, there's going to be other NFL coaches who, or let's say NFL OCs or DCs who aren't getting the crack that they want, and then now they can take the NFL blueprint and go model it in the college football game and try to find success there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's your afternoon delight debrief for this Friday. I did have a listener call in and says their daughter always orders the large blast from Sonic.
And eats it all?
And eats it all.
Wow.
That's I've got a little bit of that lactose intolerance, so that would not work for me. But hey, to each his own. We got Aaron Bearden from Instant Replay Sports Cards coming up next. Haven't talked to him in a few weeks. Looking forward to hear what's going on down at the store. I know there's been a lot of new releases going on, so we'll talk to him coming up next. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Friday. Mostly sunshine the remainder of the day with a gentle breeze around 10 miles per hour out of the south, and look for it to be 67. Tonight there will be mostly clouds with the temperature reaching 62. A chance of thunderstorms tomorrow with the high of 70. This weather is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Take your next adventure in an award-winning Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Discover the new Kia. We invite you to stop by Bill Bird Kia and test drive the new 2025 Kia. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. The 2025 Kia SUV family has movement that inspires. Drive away today in a new 2025 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. Fuel the thrill and command the road in the luxury of a 2025 Kia K5 sedan from Bill Bird Kia. Performance, power, and design built for you. Spark inspiration in the all-electric 2025 EV9. It's a modern masterpiece, fast charging, rugged, and roomy. Bill Bird Kia is the original home for the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by 2435 East 15th Street, Panama City, or anytime at BillBirdKia.PanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust. Your local community dealer is Bill Bird Kia.
Live from the 19th hole.
I can't believe you're a professional golfer. I think you should be working at the snack bar.
It's the Inside Drive.
The price is wrong.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. It's been a few weeks. I've had a few things done, had some slices up on my head, and actually looking forward to getting my staples out later on this afternoon. So we'll have a weekend free of staples, which will be very, very nice. Hopefully they don't hurt too much coming out. But needless to say, we haven't had Aaron Bearden on the show in quite some time down there from Instant Replay Sports Cars. But he is back today, and glad to have him back on the show and see what's going on down there at Instant Replay. Aaron, how are you doing on this Friday?
Fantastic. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good. Glad to be back on the air. And obviously,
it's been a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a few weeks, I think. But appreciate you jumping back on with us. And obviously, got to ask what's been coming into the shop over the last few weeks. I know this time of year, especially leading up to baseball season, there's been a lot of new releases that a lot of people have been looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, getting that 2025 Topps baseball out a couple of weeks ago. That's always a big one. Always kind of fun to see what the first new cards are going to look like each year. But, following right on their heels, you got Panini coming out with some baseball. I've still got a lot of football product coming out. In fact, I think some new Topps football just came out today for the first time in 9 or 10 years. We've got some... Yeah, let me walk out and see what we got. Topps Finest football just came out today. 2 autos per box. Yes, it's the first time we've seen Finest since about 2015.
So when there's a long time in between these releases, does that create a lot more demand when these new releases do come out, when it's been 8, 9, 10 years since a version of this particular card comes out?
Yeah, it's a great question. It sometimes it does if it's a product that was really popular. So with something like, say, Topps Chrome, which just came out in football a couple of weeks ago, people love the Topps Chrome. You get collectors that's kind of the focal point of their collection. So when they can finally get some Topps Chrome football after a 9 or 10 year absence, they love to see it. Some of the other things they take away for a while, bring back, maybe just didn't have that kind of popularity. It's kind of like bringing back the McRib, right? Yep. Everybody, they go crazy when that McRib comes back. Some other things they may, take away, bring back, don't have quite that same interest level.
Gotcha. So it kind of varies based on what the particular product is. But sounds like this one's highly anticipated, and a lot of people will be excited to get it in their hands.
Yeah, and then also the individual cards, that year, if that's a good rookie class or not, that's going to determine a lot of it. So, even a popular product like Topps Chrome or Bowman Chrome, if you have a year where there weren't a lot of great rookies that have kind of jumped out and made a name for themselves, even being a Chrome product, it's not going to be as hot as, some of those years we have 3, 4 really good rookies. Of course, this year, we've had, Bo Nix and, Caleb Williams. Hopefully this coming season we see something out of J.J. McCarthy. So potentially this 2024 class could be really, really big.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there's a lot of people jumping at the bit trying to find some of those low-numbered auto Jaden Daniels cards for sure.
Yeah,
for
obviously.
Sure. Especially with a good playoff run and winning Rookie of the Year. I'm sure that makes the demand go up just a little bit. But sounds like there's some cool new products down there in the store that probably people are itching to get their hands on as when you're first to getting some of these new products, you're first to the opportunity to pulling some of those cards that may be pretty sought after, and you can get them on the market, so to speak, quicker once you have them. Another card I just saw come out from Topps, kind of seems to be their theme. We've talked about a few of these other cards that have kind of come out, but obviously LeBron James hit the 50,000 point mark the other night with the 3-pointer early in the game. He only needed 1 point at the time to break that mark, and since then Topps has released a 1-of-1 autographed card from the 50,000 point game that's got a little Nike swoosh that looks like, I don't know, maybe from his shoe, because the jerseys aren't white, and it's his 50,000th point trading card, and it's also a 1-of-1 autograph card where LeBron wrote 50K on it. I'm not sure what type of it says Topps Now. Is that a particular Topps product that's fairly common out there in the market?
Well, it's something Topps makes and sells just on their website.
Okay,
so,
gotcha.
The downside of that is, like a card shop, we have no chance of getting that product for somebody to come into a shop and pull that.
Okay, that was going to be my follow-up question.
Yeah, usually Topps now, there's like a 24 to 48-hour window where you can order those cards. They make them when a player does something significant, a milestone or something.
Gotcha.
And they're print on demand. So either, usually with those, say they make, however many thousand of the base card, then maybe they make 50 gold ones and, whatever, 25 silver, whatever they make. And a certain number will be autoed, and you just buy those direct from Topps. The one-of-ones, sometimes they sell those as a single card, and whoever jumps on there first, usually with some kind of, bought software, they get to buy that card before anybody else gets a crack at it. Sometimes they sort of do like a lottery process with those. Problem is, those kind of things, they make the news. They really don't, do much for most collectors because most collectors know they have no shot at that card.
Yeah, no
so
doubt.
It's like you dangle that out there, but it's like
it's virtually impossible to get.
Yeah, it wasn't in a pack or anything where most people had any shot at it. So if you weren't sitting at home at 9:00:00 a.m. with your bot software on there to buy it, card might as well not even exist in your world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Versus like that Paul Skeens card that was done. I don't know if that was done. I think it was done by Topps. Obviously, that was an opportunity for anybody who bought that particular product to get it, which I thought was pretty cool and a big difference on how that works.
Yeah, and, people get caught up on those kind of cards because they make the news, and, it's a great little soundbite to talk about these cards potentially worth being, $1 million or more or whatever. But the truth is there's so many other great cards in that product that somebody could pull that not only would be the centerpiece of their collection, but if they chose to sell it, would be like some life-changing money that never even made the news. And a lot of people, when they heard like the Paul Skeens card got pulled, they quit wanting to buy that product. And it's like, yes, but that was a one-of-one. Sure, it's going to go for a bunch. But there were also other Paul Skeen auto one-of-ones in that product that just you didn't hear about, or Paul Skeen autographs numbered to 5 or 10 or other player one-of-ones that, potentially would sell for, maybe $100,000 or more.
So it almost kind of some of these cards like this kind of overshadow the other great stuff that could be in these particular boxes and packs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, big time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's so much more to collecting than just chasing that one card. And, the odds are you're not going to pull that one card anyway. So, people just get caught up in that. It just sort of creates a lot of disappointment. Rather than saying, look at all the really cool stuff that's in this product that if you buy a box, you might pull and, get some really good value out of that product and have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of fun pulls and cool stuff, how did I know last month was the big Topps Rip Night. Obviously, you do a Rip Night every month, but last month was the Topps Rip Night. How did that one go?
Yeah, Rip Night was great last month. Yeah, we do this every month for people that don't know. It's a really fun event. We do some pack wars, some trivia contests, a lot of giveaways, box breaks. It's just a fun way to come in on a Saturday evening and really enjoy the hobby with a bunch of other people. Twice a year, Topps actually sponsors it. They send us prize support. They were giving away cool T-shirts and, a lot of free cards and all. And so then in the midst of all that, like doing pack wars where everybody's opening up the same pack and looking for, who's got the tallest player, who's got the, youngest player or whatever. So one of our customers in a Topps basketball pack hit a Stephen Curry gold one-of-one superfractor.
Whoa.
Die-cut card. Yeah, incredible card. It was so cool. It was the guy's first one-of-one card he's ever pulled. We've been having a conversation about that for the past couple of months, and he was like, man, I hope this is my year. I get to hit a one-of-one. Hey, you start off with a Steph Curry. That's about as good as it's going to get,
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool way to kick that off.
Pretty early and pretty high, that's for sure.
Yeah. But, yeah, a lot of good cards got pulled that night. One of the kids, he won one of the rounds of Pack Wars for having, I don't know, the highest card number in the pack or something like that. And he won a free pack of Topps product. He pulls a Dylan Cruz autograph number to 25 out of his little free, prize pack.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's a great way to not only pull cards, hang out with other collectors, just have a lot of fun without, having to buy a $400 or $500 hobby box or something like that.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of trivia about Topps cards. We do them by teams. And I had a lot of fun with that. And the team that won got a free box of tops to split amongst their team. So, yeah, it's just a good, fun event. We got one coming up here in a couple of weeks on a Saturday night. Check our website or our Facebook page for more details about that. And, yeah, come down and join us for some Rip Night.
Well, and two, when you get these, especially the younger folk, the kids that get in there and they get something really cool, that's going to make them a card collector and kind of sports hobby enthusiast, probably for the rest of their life. I mean, because will they get another card like that again? Who knows? But certainly the excitement of that, it's kind of like, buying a scratch-off lottery ticket and, hitting a big $500 prize or something like that. Now you're probably going to be, continuing that particular hobby, so to speak, for most of your life. So it's cool to, find an easy way to get introduced into it, and then something special can happen and make you a fan of that particular hobby the rest of your life. So that's some cool stuff.
And the danger that would right now with this, with kids are seeing on social media and stuff, a lot of the adults, a lot of them are really sort of bad influences in collecting because they have some sort of wild ideas about what card collecting is supposed to be. And a lot of kids are seeing this, and they're thinking, they immediately get into, well, what's it worth? What can I sell it for? Like, they get a little bit cynical about it from the beginning rather than just enjoying, they don't really have a lot of those ooh and ah moments.
Yeah.
Sometimes that kind of gets taken from them. So it's cool on Rip Night. We have kids come in that participate. And, yeah, they pull some of those, it doesn't have to be a card you go out and buy a new automobile with, but sometimes they pull a card of a player they like, a good numbered card or whatever. They love it. A lot of times the adults, at the end of the night, they'll just give the cards to the kids that are participating.
Yeah.
We have a lot of them that, adults that come to Rip Night just because it's fun. They don't need another stack of cards to take home. So, yeah, they'll give them to kids that are hanging out and having a good time. So, it's a fun event all around.
Yeah, kind of a hobby that can cross over many different generations and age groups, which is, I think, what makes it certainly pretty special. All right, speaking of big nights, I know you got the Rip Nights every month. Big Break still rocking and rolling. You got another one coming up here pretty soon?
Yeah, I think we're about to announce another one pretty soon. Part of the problem, we haven't done a Big Break the last couple of months. Part of it was there was just a real, almost a quarter of the year where companies were not getting a lot of product out to market. So it was kind of making it hard to do some of the big breaks when they just weren't producing stuff. Topps went for several weeks, almost a month, without putting out some new baseball stuff. So hopefully as we get back into the swing of things, we'll start getting a little more stable release schedule and start making some products available. Yeah, because we love doing the big breaks.
Definitely.
And Topps is about to start, really ramping up their football production. Their football right now is a little more affordable than Panini product. So, who knows? Maybe by the time the draft comes around in the NFL, maybe we can throw together a big break for that.
That'd be some good timing, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, I know it's been a few weeks since we had you on, and you guys announced this a couple months ago, but remind everybody about the CGC grading service that you guys offer now. I mean, and this is still one of the best things. And I mean, you guys do a lot of amazing things, but this opportunity for you to send in one or as many cards as you want and be part of your bulk submissions is a pretty special thing. So remind everybody about the CGC grading as you guys are a authorized dealer with them.
Sure, yeah. We're the only authorized CGC dealer in the northern half of Florida. They are not only, longtime experts in card grading, they're the leader in coin grading and comic book grading as well. We can handle all that. If you have any of that stuff you want to bring in and get sent off for grading. CGC is owned in part by Fanatics, who, of course, owns Topps. They also have the NBA trading card license now. In a few months, they're going to have the NFL license. CGC is kind of their position to be the grading card company, kind of the standard from here on out. Fanatics is going to use them to kind of promote a lot of their product. So one of the really nice things with it, with being an authorized dealer, there's actually some accountability and some liability on our part as far as taking care of people's cards, getting them sent out on time, etc. I know a lot of places will do PSA grading or something. The problem with that is basically anybody can send your cards off for you to PSA, and if there's some kind of issue, some kind of problem, PSA is just going to say, hey, we didn't authorize that place to hold your cards. As far as the courts are concerned, if something like that happened, somebody damaged your card, swapped it out or whatever, they're going to say, hey, you gave the card to them. We don't understand, that's their card as far as the law looks at it. So being an authorized dealer kind of gives you a little more peace of mind with that. And definitely, bring your cards to a card shop. If you're going to have somebody send them off for you, for goodness sakes, don't take them to a video game store. There's been so many things about that in the news lately where these, kids working the counter at a video game store, losing people's cards, damaging their cards, etc. Bring them to a shop with people who know how to handle some cards. But it's great. CGC is a terrific grader, really good grading standards. They have a lot of videos on YouTube really showing you the transparency in their grading process, how they grade things. We've been getting great results from them. We send off pretty much every week. Usually every Monday or Tuesday, we send a batch off to CGC. So, yeah, whether you've got one card or 500 cards or whatever, it doesn't matter. We can do group bulk submissions. We can do an individual submission for you. The group bulk thing definitely will save you a little money and get you some good grades and hopefully increase the value of those cards.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the bigger things you mentioned there was the fact that it just gives you that peace of mind. You guys know what you're doing, and then of course with you being an authorized dealer with CGC, that offers kind of that level of protection when it comes to those cards being shipped off and graded and then coming back. So just another awesome service that you guys offer up over there at Instant Replay Sports Cards. All right, Aaron, real quick, it is Friday. What do you guys got coming up tonight? And then of course tomorrow you got your normal Saturday break at about 12 noon.
Yeah, we've got Kids Club tonight happening. Bring those kids down from 6 o'clock. Come down, get in on some great fun breaks, and do a lot of giveaways, a lot of cool stuff with the kids, chance for them to interact with some other collectors their own age in a family-friendly environment. And they get to go home with a lot of cool cards and hopefully learn a little more about the hobby. So, yeah, Kids Club every Friday night. Always a good time. And then, breaks tomorrow at noon. Come in, we do hobby boxes, and people get to buy in on the products they want, and you sit there and watch, talk to the other collectors doing the breaks, learn a lot about the hobby, get to see a lot of product open. Always a good time. Yeah. And, by the way, throw this out there for anybody listening, we are currently hiring down here. We've got a sign on the window, so if you thought it'd be cool to work at a card shop, definitely come out and fill out an application and talk to us, and let's see what we can do.
There you go. I'll make sure I keep mentioning that on the air as well, Aaron, that you guys are looking for another associate to join your team of experts there at Instant Replay Sports Cards, located there in the Stanford Station Shopping Plaza next to Academy Sports and Outdoors and Sweet Frog Creamery. Aaron, it was great to have you back on. Look forward to talking to you again next Friday as well.
Absolutely. You guys take care. Everybody out there, have a great weekend. Come see us.
Absolutely. Go check them out. They're open both Saturday and Sunday. That is Instant Replay Sports Cards. You guys are listening to the Inside Drive, final segment of this Friday afternoon, coming up next.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida presents the madness of college basketball. 68 teams. 32 conference champions. But there can only be one. ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for the NCAA College Basketball Tournament.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Whether you're an experienced investor or first-time buyer, Beach House will provide you with top-notch service to guide you through every step of the process. We make the real estate process fun and easy through effective marketing, strategic advertising, and always a client-focused experience. From single-family homes to full-scale developments, Beach House Sales Development has you covered. Check them out at beachhousesalesfl.com or give them a call at 850-919-3500.
Introducing Water Clear Pools. the home of the 10-week pool guarantee. We guarantee custom pool completion from permit to your first swim in 10 weeks or less. Water Clear Pools is the premier pool builder for the Margaritaville development on Highway 79. Free quotes and custom pools anywhere in Northwest Florida. Call now, 850-835-4177, or see our website, waterclearpool.com. Licensed and insured. License number CPC 1459723.
What does it take to live an uncommon life? Here's former Super Bowl winning coach Tony Dungy with today's uncommon moment.
As followers of Christ, we should maintain self-control and discipline, especially when it comes to taking care of our bodies. Getting in shape and making a commitment to stay that way honors God. But that mindset is not only important for our physical bodies, it also applies to the training we do and the commitment we make to ourselves and to God. We commit to learn more about Him and about how we can be better disciples. It takes resolve and repetition, consistently working at it for maximum results. Real success in achieving goals comes when we know we can't do it by ourselves and look to the Lord for strength.
New York Times best-selling author Tony Dungy. More at CoachDungy.com. That's CoachDungy.com.
Spreads, picks, and parlays. Get the breaking news, insider angles, and expertise so you can run your game.
I told y'all to run that.
And now the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey, ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back to the City Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. A lot of local high school action coming up tonight, starting with some softball action. You've got Arnold Marlins traveling not to take on First Baptist, but Second Baptist in some high school varsity softball action.
There you go.
Arnold trying to stay undefeated, currently 5-0. Second Baptist is 1-1. Also on the baseball,
I've been looking for that Fifth Baptist church around here somewhere. Just
you got to find the second, third, and fourth first.
There's a whole bunch of First Baptist, First United Methodist, and a whole bunch of First, and now we're
all
here
first.
in a second. But
it's all
who's going to be that fourth or fifth squad?
I don't know, but if you follow that Arnold bus, you might be able to find out where Second Baptist indeed is. Bozeman baseball coming off that big win. They are looking to go 10-1 tonight as they travel up to the 4-6 Mariana Bulldogs. And then also on softball, must be some kind of Arnold is currently playing Second Baptist. Must be some kind
I missed my opportunity to follow the bus.
You did. You can't now. You'll just have to find out because they will be playing South Lake later on today. Must be some kind of tournament going on. And South Lake taking on Arnold at 5 p.m. Back on varsity baseball, Bay will be traveling to Rutherford. Bay 7-3, Rutherford 3-6. Mosley traveling to Lincoln to take on the 7-3 Lincoln, whatever they are. I don't know off the top of my head.
I don't either.
Lincoln Log. They're logs.
The Lincoln Logs. There you go. They build themselves up, but we all knock them down.
That's it. And then also on varsity softball, you got Choctawhatchee traveling to Bozeman. Choctawhatchee 2-4, Bozeman 3-2 on the season, trying to go 4-2 after tonight. And then, as I already mentioned, the Destin varsity girls flag football team is traveling to Tallahassee to play in a tournament, and that starts tonight against Leto, Leto. Lincoln Trojans. Thank you, Coach Moon. Appreciate you correcting me there. They are not indeed
all I knew is they were green and yellow. I knew, green and gold technically, just looking it up. And I was going to guess whenever their school is on Trojan Trail, that's the name of their road, that they'd be the Trojans at that point.
That's certainly fair. But thank you, Coach Moon.
New.
Yeah, there you go. I'd prefer logs better. Lincoln Logs would have been so much cooler. They missed out an opportunity. Maybe they'll change it.
And wasn't the box for Lincoln Logs green and yellow as well?
Pretty sure it was. The roofs were green. I remember that when you put them on top of the logs.
Absolutely.
But, they fit together just like the real log cabins do with the little notches.
Yeah.
It's just a little easier to lift.
I enjoyed those, man. Maybe my affinity for Abraham Lincoln grow even that much more.
Oh, didn't know you were a big Honest Abe fan.
1 through 16, those were my guys.
Gotcha.
17 and beyond, I lost all faith in the government after that.
Yeah, things changed.
After John Wilkes Booth, it just all changed for me.
No doubt. I get it. Makes sense.
I was listening to one of the more recent Joe Rogan podcasts, and he had a conspiracy theorist on, and they were saying that the JFK assassination would be like the perfect introduction to someone, like to see how they look at conspiracy theories, right? Like if you look at some things and you like dive one way or the other, maybe you're not, maybe you just go way too deep down the rabbit holes instead of like trying to look at the facts that actually make sense. Because I mean, come on, when you look at some of these things that have happened across the landscape of America, it's like, all right, like, are we just dumb?
Yeah. Oblivious, some might say. Interesting stuff. Neither here nor there, always going to be a topic of conversation, and there's not a darn thing we can probably do about it. But what we can do is watch some college basketball this weekend, and you can listen to it right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. That's the big Auburn-Alabama game live from Neville Arena. Coverage starts at 1 p.m., tip-off at 1:30 as Auburn, number one team in the nation, coming off that loss earlier this week to Texas A&M. Alabama also lost this week as well, and Alabama trying to stay, they're trying to move to 13-6 in the SEC. Auburn trying to stay just with 2 losses there in the SEC. Currently, Auburn is an 8.5-point favorite at home with the over-under at 177.5. Obviously, some seeding implications for the SEC tournament with this game, but Auburn and Florida have locked up the number 1 and 2 seeds there in the SEC tournament. You've also got St. John's traveling to Marquette in a Big East matchup. That's a top 25 matchup as well. Kentucky and Missouri, 19th ranked Kentucky traveling to 15th ranked Missouri at the Mizzou Arena up there in Columbia. Obviously, that game's got some seeding implications as well. Number 25 ranked Mississippi State traveling to Fayetteville to take on the Arkansas Razorbacks in the Bud Walton Arena. A little Big Ten matchup as well. Penn State traveling to number 12 Michigan at the Kohl Center up there in Madison, Wisconsin. Some more Big 12 action. Iowa State, number 10, taking on Kansas State. Again, some seeding implications as well for the Big 12 tournament. South Carolina will be taking on number 4 Tennessee up there in Knoxville in the Food City Center. Tennessee coming off that loss to Florida, or not to Florida, Alabama lost to Florida. Tennessee lost to Ole Miss. And then you got Stanford traveling to number 14th ranked Louisville. Northwestern traveling to play number 13th ranked Maryland. Texas A&M will play LSU. Arizona versus Kansas. Ole Miss versus Florida. Virginia Tech versus Clemson. Duke and North Carolina. Duke just having an unbelievable season and has won the majority of their games in the last 10 games or so by more than 20 points. Now, ACC schedule, certainly not the SEC schedule. The Texas Tech Red Raiders take on Arizona State. Houston takes on Baylor. Utah takes on BYU. A great Saturday lineup of college basketball games, which leads us to all the conference tournaments. Some already underway. Some get started next week. SEC first-round matchups. You got the 16 and 9 seed starting on Wednesday, March 12th. That'll be at noon here in the Central Time Zone. And then right after that game, you'll have the 13th seed versus the 12th seed, followed by game number 3. That'll be at 6 p.m. Central Time, 15 versus 10. And then after that game, 14 versus 11. Obviously, all those seeds will be set once we finish the games this upcoming Saturday. Second round will begin in the SEC tournament on Thursday, March 13th. And then your top 4 seeds all have byes into the quarterfinals, with the first game being at noon on Friday, March 14th. That's the 1 seed taking on whoever comes out of the second round to play them. The 4 seed will play 25 minutes after that game. That'll be game number 10. And then the 2 seed will play at 6 p.m. that night. And the 3 seed will play right after that game as well. The semifinals, the SEC tournament, will happen on Saturday, March 15th. And then, of course, the culmination of the SEC basketball will happen on Sunday at noon. And then, of course, Sunday, right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, will be your Selection Sunday. Coverage starts at 5 p.m. And, of course, once that coverage ends, the bracket will be set, and you need to make sure you go on to ESPNPC.com, click the Click Here button when you go to the Big Bracket Challenge portion of the page, as we found out earlier on the show that I wasn't officially in the group, and now I am, as I did follow the Click Here link and got myself in there. So
that also must have helped Ohio Brad, because we are up to 4 last time I checked. So
nice.
Congratulations there. Actually, we're up to looks like we've got a couple others in there as well. Looks like we're up to 5. So keep it rolling.
Keep it rolling.
Get
Just
in
go
there.
to ESPNPC.com. Click that little red box in the upper right-hand corner. Click Big Bracket Challenge, and then do the Click Here link in that first little paragraph. It'll take you right to that group. If you click the banner ad, it'll take you to last year's group, which I found out myself. I thought I was in, but now I'm officially in. So sometimes we do some live on-the-air debugging action. But again, a lot of great college basketball action coming up this Saturday. Little quick update before we end the show. Shane Lowry finished his second round with a beautiful 5 under par 67, which is a great round at Bay Hill in the Arnold Palmer Invitational. So he's currently got a 1-shot lead over Wyndham Clark, who's still on the golf course. Wyndham Clark had a nice 5 under round of 67 yesterday. He's currently 2 under par on his round today, followed by Corey Connors at -5, cousin Russell Henley, the Georgia Bulldog, at -4, Rory McIlroy with another round of 70. He's paired 2 rounds of 70. He's at 4 under par, right there in contention. Keegan Bradley is currently 4 under par. He just got his second round started today. It is 1 under through 2. And then my long shot pick, Mac Gracerman, he finished his round today 1 under par. So he is currently tied for 6th at 3 under par. So if you prop bet him to top 10, hopefully he can have a good weekend. Although I know tomorrow the winds are going to be blowing at about that 25 to 30 mile an hour range, which is going to make a tough golf course even tougher. Don't forget, too, you can jump onto Hard Rock and get some of that live odd action. You can get Cousin Russell for 20 to 1 right now. He's only 4 shots back of Shane Lowry, who is now obviously the favorite to win after his second round here of 67. He's at plus 280. I don't really know where Scotty Scheffler is. Scotty Scheffler.
He's golfing.
He's golfing, indeed. Still number 1 ranked in the world as well. He's even par. He shot 1 under yesterday. He's currently 1 over on his round today. He's only through 4 holes, though. But right now, I guess that would be 8 back. What's wild, he is still plus 750, 8 back with really only 2.5 rounds for him to go. That's how confident Vegas is with how good Scotty Scheffler has in the ability to contend in these particular tournaments. So, but we'll update you on the tournament on Monday.
What do you win if Gracerman wins?
I actually only put him in my DraftKings. I didn't do a bet on him. So I would have liked it. You can get him live right now for 55 to 1. And he's 5 back with 2 rounds to go, but he's moving his way up that FedEx Cup list. So kind of cool to see that. Cool to see Justin Thomas too. He looks like he's going to make the cut in this tournament and be tied for 8th, probably 8th-ish going into the weekend. What race do we got coming up this weekend?
Phoenix, I believe. Yeah, Phoenix Raceway.
That's right, out there in Zona.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, is it going to be Christopher Bell? Is it going to be Billy B, William Byron? Who knows, man? NASCAR season off to a kind of hot start, but inconsistent by the NASCAR officials dropping those yellow flags whenever they want to.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Afternoon Underdogs coming up at 4 p.m. As I already mentioned, you can tune in to listen to some Auburn Tiger basketball against those Alabama Crimson Tide coming up at 1 p.m. Coverage starts tomorrow, tip-off at 1:30. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Get outside, have some fun, and we'll see you guys on Monday.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents the most college basketball.
Three-pointer, push it in. College basketball is back.